Yo brahmanam vidadati purvam yo vai vedamshta prahinoti tasmai tam hadevam atma buddhi prakasham mumkshor vai sharanamaham prapadye. He who at the beginning of the creation projected Brahma, that is the Hiranyagarbha of the creation, and who revealed the Vedas to him, seeking liberation, I take refuge in that effulgent one whose light turns the intellect towards the Atman. 4 yogas. We are starting with Raja Yoga just in one lecture because whatever be the yoga, meditation is central. So it may differ, but then meditation, all the yogas involve certain type of meditation. So if we have the idea of Raja Yoga to certain extent, it will be good. So hence I'm clubbing a lot of ideas in one talk. It will be a little bit too many ideas confined within 1 hour. So let's begin without further ado. So philosophy in Hinduism is called as darshana. Unlike Western philosophy, which wholly depends on logic and reason, the philosophy, the darshanas, literally means seeing in a mystical sense, in a mystical state. You perceive some reality. So we have 6 systems of philosophy. Among them, the Sankhya and Yoga come very close to Vedanta, with very little difference, so much so that the later Vedantins, they just incorporated the Patanjali's yoga into Vedanta as practical aids for the attainment of samadhi, that is the realization of Brahman. So important it is. There's a funny thing I read about the Sankhya. Shankaracharya comments on Brahma Sutra. In the Brahma Sutra, after describing everything, the Vyasa starts refuting. And first he starts refuting Sankhya Yoga, Sankhya. So Shankara says, why Sankhya has been taken? There are 6 other systems, other 5 more are there. Why Sankhya? He says, it's like taking up the, Pradhana Malla Nyaya. That is, if you have to wrestle with somebody, wrestle with the very prominent, strongest wrestler. So if you can win him, the rest are almost defeated. So if you can refute Sankhya, then all the other systems are nothing. So important Sankhya is. Vedanta almost takes many of it. Only few generalizations of Sankhya is not enough for Advaita Vedanta. So it further goes into, that's always the difference. But as you keep reading, we understand there's not much difference. So that's the wonderful thing about Sankhya and Yoga. So Sankhya is the theoretical aspect of the philosophy, but Yoga is the practical side of it. And Sankhya doesn't feel it necessary to have the concept of Ishvara. So they're called as Nirishvara Sankhyas. But whereas Patanjali feels certain aspirants need the support of Ishvara. So he has made space for it, for Ishvara in his scheme of yoga. And hence it's called as Saishvara Sankhya, Patanjali's. And Patanjali more is inclined towards the practical aspects. We understand the theory and try to apply it. This is what he is very particular about. And he's a scientist in his own right. And Patanjali's philosophy has 3 aspects of, accepts 3 fundamental realities. One is Ishvara and Purushas, plural, not one Purusha, Purushas, individual souls, and Prakriti or Pradhana, the nature. The Purushas are of the nature of pure consciousness and they are infinite in number. This is also a difference between Vedanta and Sankhya, Swami Vivekananda says. And then Ishvara, they come to Ishvara in their own a unique way. They say that Ishvara is a special kind of Purusha, a Purusha Vishesha. And he is untouched by Prakriti. And he can be known only through the scriptures. And he is ever free. He is the teacher of teachers, Adi Guru, primeval teacher. And he is designated by Pranava, Om. Om is his Vachaka. So this is something, I'm just touching. It's a bird's eye view, rather, you can say, Raja Yoga, of what we are dealing now. Because last couple of years back, you studied thoroughly Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, Mataji took. So Pradhana is Prakriti, the basic material cause of the universe. In Vedanta, Prakriti is Sahakarini. But whereas in Yoga, Prakriti is the prime basic cause of the universe or the material world, with Sattva, Rajas, Tamas as the ingredients, components. The Purusha, this is the individual soul, like any one of us, all of us are Purushas. Somehow, due to avidya, nescience, forgets, that's the word they use, no other word, forgets his real nature as pure consciousness and gets involved, messed up with Prakriti. So much so that he suffers the pangs of birth and death and transmigration. But once he does spiritual practices sincerely, then he is able to get back, realize his true nature as asangha, separate, isolated, entirely nishkriya, not involved in any action. He can isolate himself from the clutches, from the hold of Prakriti. Prakriti is painful. Prakriti ultimately leads to pain. So he can free himself. He can separate himself from the Prakriti, from the pain, and be an onlooker. So to be established in one's own nature, freeing oneself from the tentacles or the clutches of Prakriti is the aim of Raja Yoga. It's called as Kaivalya. That's the goal. Sri Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita in the 6th chapter, which he completely dedicates to Dhyana, meditation, says, Tam vidya dukkha samyoga viyogam yoga sanghita. Sanishchayena yuktavyo yogo anirvinna chetasa. So here, yoga is viyoga. Usually we say yoga has different meanings. One is to concentrate, perfect concentration is one yoga. And another is to unite is also yoga. And separation also is yoga. Separation from what? Separation from the dukkha, from Prakriti, from the hold of Prakriti. It's messed up. We identify ourselves with our body-mind complex. Inordinate attachment to the body is the cause of misery, pain. So when we understand that we are Purushas, uninvolved in the workings of the Prakriti, then we free. This separation is called as, this viyoga is called as yoga, Sri Krishna says. So that's also one of the meaning of yoga. And these two meanings which I told you, that is perfect concentration and to unite, fits in with the philosophy of Patanjali. That is, yoga is that which helps us to concentrate on Ishvara and ultimately unite with him. So good, both ways, all the three definitions fits in here. So I'm not going to go into brief, all the sutras, some of them which are very, very essential for us to understand. So we are all beginners. So as such, what's important for us as sadhakas, we only deal with those things. So Patanjali starts his aphorism. Yoga, what is yoga? Yoga is chitta vritti nirodha. Yoga is restraining the mind stuff from taking forms. Forms means vrittis. It's called vrittis. Later on, I will go into detail. So when all the modifications of the mind are controlled and suppressed, not repressed, suppressed, nirodha, the true nature of the Purusha or the self is realized. So the chitta, what is chitta? So we have got the three terms here: chitta, vritti, and nirodha. Three things are there we need to understand. What is chitta? Chitta, Swamiji defines it as mind stuff. It has various connotations. It's called as anthakarna, the inner instruments. Depending upon the functions, you can call it mind, you can call it buddhi, whatever. And what is chitta vritti? So the waves of thoughts, the thoughts, feelings, emotions that arise in it due to the impact of the sense objects through sense organs. That is eyes, ears, they bring the suggestions, information. And immediately the chitta takes the form of the objects. It doesn't remain in itself. It becomes something else. People, later on, a little more when I come, we can understand. Swami Vivekananda gives a beautiful example. Take a lake, placid, beautiful, calm lake. That is chitta, the mind stuff. Now, we throw a stone in it. And what happens? The lake reacts in the form of ripples. So these ripples are vrittis, waves. So the suggestions that come through the sense organs to the mind or the chitta, it immediately doesn't remain anymore mind. It becomes a thought. It becomes that object what the suggestions, the senses brought. There's a big philosophy behind this. I don't know how far I will be able to explain to it, or how you'll be able to understand. That's also difficult. You know, they say, we do not know what's out there. Many times you must have heard Ajayapana Mataji saying, we do not know what's out there. It is when there is something, some suggestion is then unknown what it is. When the senses go out, the consciousness rushes through the sense organs to the object and it reveals and it comes back to the chitta. And then we understand this is a cow, this is a book. So to explain it takes so much time, but this is going on automatically, so quickly that we hardly even understand, doesn't even know. We think the object of the world is existing there. Here is the chair. I'm so cocksure about it. This is a chair. No, I don't know what it is. It is only when the consciousness goes through the senses, to the eyes, I perceive it and it comes back. And that reaction is a chitta is giving, oh, that's a chair. This is how the perception takes place. It takes long. So every single vritti is when we have come in contact with the mind, we study the mind, then we understand this. Oh, so many processes. It is the processes that are involved in perception. The ordinary people will never understand this until and unless we get that sukshmatva, the sensitiveness. The mind becomes so sensitive. That is why, you know, when Sri Ramakrishna used to be in some particular bhava or idea, any other ideas would just bring pain to him. So sensitive the nerves are, so sensitive the organs are. Hence, there's a lot of things are involved. But just for us, what we want to know is we do not unnecessarily allow the other suggestions to come and disturb our mind. And what happens when the mind is completely calm, no suggestions are coming, no ripples are, what happens? The self is just below, under. Under the lake is the self. So we are not at all able to see because constantly the waves are coming, the suggestions are being given from the world, outside world, of the senses bring, and even our own samskaras are disturbed by the prana. And all this makes really our chitta constantly disturbed, constantly disturbed. Hence, we don't even know that the self is behind. It is a self which is giving the chitta so much of energy. It's imparting its consciousness to the chitta. If not, chitta is just a matter. It's a part of Prakriti. It's matter, dull, dead matter. Its consciousness underneath, substratum, is the one which is giving it so much of liveliness. Hence, we see the all beautiful, wonderful world. So we are not able to see the Purusha who is behind, who is the witness, who is just Sakshi. Upadrashta, you were reading in the 13th chapter, Upadrashta, Anumanta. You read in the 13th chapter of the Gita. So self is that, but because the chitta is constantly busy, constantly disturbed, we do not see the Purusha underneath. Just a bit of digression. Once I went to this Jnana caves to see. In the Jnana caves, we saw a small pond, tiny little pond in the cave. Crystal clear water, absolutely nothing. So clean, so perfect calm. I didn't even know that it's water. I thought it's just a rock because the rock below is so clean and sweet. We could see that. I just thought, then when I came close, I thought, oh, I can just even touch the water. I think I can touch the bottom. No, it is 30 to 40 meters below. So deep it is, but because the water is crystal clear and no waves, that I could see the depth, the bottom of the. Suddenly it struck me, this is how, if the chitta can be like this calm, we can see the Purusha under, who is supporting the whole system, the psychophysical organism is sustained by him. So that's how it is. And yoga is meant not to allow the chitta to take the form of these vrittis and remain calm as it is. This is the yoga. And but in the book club, we saw 60,000 thoughts per day we humans think. Just random number without analysis. But Patanjali, being a scientist, is very precise. He divides, he groups them, all the thoughts that a person can think. In what lines? Thoughts are grouped. So that those are called as the pramanas, Robert? No, not this one. This is states of mind. Yeah. So it's grouped. The chitta vrittis, waves of the minds, are grouped. The first is pramana. Next is viparyaya, vikalpa, nidra, smriti. What are they? Pramanas. Means of right knowledge. Pramana means, what's the proof? Proof. That's right knowledge. And under it comes direct perceptions. My eye says this is chair. My eye said there is an accident. Somebody, I have seen it. So that what we see, we're cocksure about it. Yes, I have seen it. So that's the perception. And then we infer, seeing a lot of blood here, oh, some accident must have happened, or somebody must have done something wrong, or whatever's in me, somebody must have shot. All this, we infer. This inference. And then, of course, scriptural evidence are there. Spiritual texts are there. So that's the sort of thoughts also are there in us. So this is one group of thought. This viparyaya. Viparyaya is false knowledge. Now we are very good at having it. Fake news, fake, everything is fake. So that sort of fake things. Sometimes we think we see something and we think, oh, that's that one. Oh, no, no, it isn't. Our eyes, our senses sometimes fool us. What we think may not be right. So such type of come. The Vedanta gives classic example of Vedanta is the snake and the rope. Seeing the snake in the rope, that is the viparya. So the world is actually spiritual. Its content, it's spirit. But I only see it as matter. And matter troubles me. So I'm afraid of the world. Actually, it is rope. And I'm seeing a snake in it. And I'm getting frightened of it. So this sort of thing happens. This is viparya. Then vikalpa, baseless. So many baseless thoughts come. Meaningless. Verbal delusion. Hazel in the air. Which is anywhere, has anybody seen it? But we make a picture of it, which doesn't correspond with the reality. These are also vrittis. And then, of course, there is the great vritti called as nidra, sleep. It is the vritti which embraces a feeling of void. Nobody has ever slept thinking philosophical things or experimenting, thinking about their thesis. You can't sleep. When we have to sleep, we just sleep, try to stop thinking, try to go into the lap of the Prakriti, or the Prakriti lulls us into sleep. So we enter into a state of tamas. Only then we can sleep. And then smriti, memory of past experience. This is also so many times. And this is an haunting thing, constantly troubles us. So these are the vrittis, these are the thoughts, these are the waves of thought. And these sometimes bring us, generally it brings pain. Generally they bring pain. But when they help us in our spiritual practice, they are not painful. They help us. What's the point of reading on this? So we can detect what sort of vritti is coming, and immediately then and then we can nib it off. If we have that capacity at the beginning, sometimes we won't understand. In the beginning, we may fail. The vritti has come, then we understand, oh, I became subject to this thought and I got depressed. But if we are once persistent in observing our mind, slowly, that means what happens? We become more sensitive, we become refined, we become very fine in our dealings with the mind. So when it is just coming as wave, before it can become a wave, when it's just the bubbles are coming from, we can nip it. That's the purpose of studying all these things. To detect what you're hearing a boring lecture like this, very analytical, what is she going on telling, and you go into sleepy mood. That is, tamas is entering. So you become alert. Don't allow your mind to become tamas. Something I can benefit, let me be attentive. So we come from tamas to rajas, and from rajas to sattva. All this we learn how to manipulate and keep our chitta without becoming a wave. So we keep our poise. It helps us in keeping our poise. So this is the thing. Next is the Patanjali speaks of 5 states of mind. These are the 5 states. The mind is not always calm and quiet and very good boy. No, no, no. It has its own, what do you call, women fancies. So first is kshipta, impulsive, moodha, dull, vikshipta, distracted, ekagra, one-pointed, niruddha, inhibited. The kshipta, impulsive, don't think anything. Ajay Panamata used to make very funny comments on it. Some devotees would come to meet her. And she said, yesterday I had been to Robertson. She has only finished half sentence. They will add the other sentence. To Robertson? No, Newcastle. They would say in her own way. So impulsive. She has started the sentence, allow her to speak. No, we give our interpretation. Impulsiveness. So I used to feel abused when you should say these things, People are like that. And this is nothing. This is a simple thing. Impulse has got very dangerous things in it. Impulse can drag you. drag our senses. Impulse can make us, drag us so much that we won't be able to think what we are doing, and we will not even think what will be the consequence of my action. Such dangerous thing impulse is. So if we know what impulse, we can chuck it. We can protect ourselves. That is why Patanjali is giving us, alerting us all this. Kshipta, then mudha, dullness, doesn't want to get up, don't want to do something. Sometimes we sleep, we are so fast asleep, we can't open the eyes. Opening the eyelid becomes so difficult, so strong. The sleep, so dull. It happens sometimes. The exertion of the body also might be, but it shouldn't be a general trend of our mind. Be alert. Sometimes when the body is very tired, it does happen. It's natural, but not always. So we check. When we see this dullness of the mind, we engage. We, give some promptings for the mind. Casually, no, come, let's go and read something. So bring it, make the mind active. So this is the dull and the vikshipta, distracted. Vikshipta, we do not think distraction is not a very bad thing. All the development so far the world has gone through, it's all through this. When the mind is in this third, we generally, 99% of the mankind keeps their mind in this vikshipta state. This is all the technology, science, everything has come out of it. It is a generality of humankind remain in that. And so these three, the kshipta, mudha, and vikshipta, multitask persons, how do they do? Multitask. So bright, so intelligent, so, wonderful in making the multitasker. So how do they? That means indriyas are going to different work you can do at a time. The capacity of the mind. So this is not ekagra, one-pointed. It is bahushaka hi anantashta, as the Gita puts it. Bahushaka. Huh? All this thing has been, humanity is there in that only. And in these three sense, there can be no yoga. Yoga is not possible in these three states of mind because the mind is under the grip of rajas and tamas. When sattva predominates the mind, then the mind has the capacity to concentrate on a particular thing. It becomes one-pointed. Eka agra, one-pointed. And according to Patanjali, sadhaka attains sampragnata samadhi. In Vedanta, in the Bhakti schools of Vedanta, we call it bhava samadhi. So it's a perfect state of concentration where there is a clear cognition of the object of our meditation. So niruddha, what is niruddha? There's a total suppression of all the modifications, leading to asampragnata samadhi, where no object is cognized. Absolute, even the object of your meditation goes, leaving the Purusha aside. Leaving the Purusha aside. In the Vedanta, somewhat, if I'm correct, when we meditate on Brahman, we have only one vritti. We have the akhandakara vritti we have in the Vedanta we come. So that akhandakara vritti, it just melts. It just merges into the pure consciousness, and pure consciousness alone is here also somewhat like that. When all the modifications completely ceased, as I told you, I could see the bottom of the leg. We can see the Purusha is separate. He is free. He is free. He is not under the control of Prakriti anymore. So these are the 5 states of the mind, and we can improve ourselves by comparing where are we and go ahead. The Gita, in the 13th chapter, makes 2 beautiful shlokas are there pertaining to this. Purusha prakritisto hi bhungte prakriti jan gunan karanam gunasangosya sadasad yoni janmasu. The Purusha, established in Prakriti, experiences the gunas born of Prakriti. The reason of his birth in good and evil wombs is his attachment to the gunas, inordinate attachment, affections to the body. So naturally, go, jaya swamriyasya, punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, being born, die, be born, be die, we go keep dying. So this is what happens. We are completely avasha, avasham prakriter vashat, completely helpless because of Prakriti. But Vedanta says, Patanjali says, no, Prakriti is your slave. Prakriti is there for the unfoldment of the Purusha. Prakriti, this Swamiji makes a beautiful comment. Prakriti is not for the enjoyment of the Purusha. That is a very, very selfish idea, because of which we have brought the planet to this condition. I only care for myself. I don't bother what happens. So what have you brought? The planet is come to the verge of destruction. This is the selfish idea. The whole nature is for me to enjoy. Then the tigers will tell, oh God, you created these human beings for me and they are not coming. They are my food. Look at them, how wicked they are. They are disobeying your order. Why are not they pleasing themselves with me? So that's how it will say. So Prakriti is not for the enjoyment. Prakriti is for the education of the Purusha, to the unfoldment of the Purusha. She is there to help us. Take her help and free yourself. This is what Patanjali is telling us. That's why, because of this inordinate affections towards the body and towards the gunas that are born of Prakriti, you will be, birth and death comes. And in the 29th shloka of the same chapter, Prakrityaiva cha karmani kriyamanani sarvashah pashyati tathatmanam akartaram sa pashyati. He or she truly sees, who sees that all actions are done by Prakriti alone. The work is thy own work, men only call it theirs. We sing in Sri Ramakrishna's birthdays. Prakriti is doing all the work. Universal life is doing all the work. But the ego goes and, no, this all belongs to me. And hence suffer. And those who have got true knowledge, those who have seen, whose mind, chitta is calm, who has seen the beneath, the Purusha, under the substratum, which is behind all the mind and intellect. He who has seen, he identifies himself, isolates himself from the Prakriti, and thereby knows that he is actionless self. I am not identifying myself with any of this action. This belongs to Prakriti. I am aside. I stand aside and look at it. This is the attitude we have to inculcate in ourselves, in starting from the small things. Then bigger things come, we get the strength to stand aside. Big difficulties, calamities will come in our life. We stand aside and look. If we can't help others, we bless it. So this is the separation of the spirit from the hands of Prakriti. This separation is called as goal of Sankhya and Yoga. So Patanjali is a very scientific person. He doesn't just give us theories and stop. He gives us some practical hint, suggestion. So we come to the Ashtanga Yoga. This is very important. So we have, the first is Yama, self-restraint, non-killing, truthfulness, non-stealing, continence, non-receiving of gifts are Yama. Yes, we don't kill others, of course, but we feel jealous of others. That is there. So that is equivalent. See, it's a very sensitive thing, I'll tell you. Not that we feel, in a grossest sense, something we may not, we feel this person has what I don't have, or maybe something wonderful. I may have some sort of, not maliciousness. Okay, jealousy it's a better, softer word than that. Okay, what happens is, now I don't intentionally think evil about her, but something goes wrong with her. It gives the other person a sense of serves a food. This sort of thing. It's very sensitive to understand. This is also called as killing. So be aware of that. Hingsha in Bengali is jealous. It's a very subtle word. So it's not we do go and harm anybody, but we sometimes feel, yeah, they deserve it. This sort of feeling is also is equivalent to harming others. Very sensitive things are. And then truthfulness, we do not say lie, but we twist the truth sometimes, if need be. People do that. Non-stealing, we don't steal anybody's, but if you have a greedy look on it, that's also equal to stealing. Continence, of course, perfect continence is absolutely necessary. To the extent you practice this, to that extent our chitta will be good and we have the chances of knowing something better about ourselves. And non-receiving of gifts, because our minds get colored by the donators. So Holy Mother says, Baba, একটা শসা দিয়ে 16টা বাসনা জুড়িয়ে দেয়। একটা শসা দিয়ে 16টা means they give one cucumber to Ramakrishna and attach 16 desires to it and then offer it to him. 16 and it's rhyming word, he said. That means you give something to God and attach, oh Lord, this I want. Sadhu, give something to Sadhu and let this thing come to me, or let me take some of our spirituality. You can take, no problem. You will have to be born again. That's what happens. If you're ready to do that, do it. If not, if you do it unselfishly, your mind gets purified. People don't understand this. Unselfishness is more paying. People don't have patience to follow it. Swamiji says in his Karma Yoga. Anyway, and then these are all, it's restraint and it does good to social harmony. If more people are practicing these things, there will be harmony in the society too. So its impact is, there will be good society. So Swamiji says, what is the test of civilization? A race that produces more spiritual people are a civilized nation, not science and technology. No, absolutely no. And so, yeah, niyama is, the next comes observances. What happened? Don't do's. Purification of body, mind, everything, internal, external, all sorts of contentment. Be satisfied with whatever you have. Mortification. Yes, there should be certain loss. We should feel the pinch of loss. Everything is going on well. No. Mortification is bringing the mind and the body under control. That's called as mortification. Study of the scriptures, worship of God. See, here he has got a provision for Ishvara Pranidhana. So, and then next comes is asana. According to Swamiji, or according to Patanjali itself, however you want, you say, it doesn't matter, because now everyone has got osteoporosis, this, that, all that. So you can't expect us to sit down. But what is needed is the spine, the chest, and the neck should be in the straight line, not stiff, but relaxed. Robert always mentions this in his meditation. So that's the posture. However you see these things are. Now I've got aches and pains. Sometimes I twist my asana, but as we see that this is kept straight. Sometimes we have to fold our legs a little bit. That's okay, but as long as this is straight, not stiff, but well, Swamiji says the pressure of the body, the weight of the body has to be brought to the chest. That's the thing. Chest should hold. So then it becomes easy. Because if the spine gets the stress, it will pain, and after sometimes you will have to move. So that's the thing. So keep a fixed asana, always in one particular place and one pleasant asana, which is comfortable for you. That is. And pranayama, of course, I'm not going to go into detail. Rhythmic breathing before we start our meditation. Rhythmically, sometimes we may have some controversy or some yelling at others, and then we come to sit for meditation. It's not possible. So a few steady breath puts us. It happens. We are human beings. We'll have all sorts of problems and things. But when we sit for meditation, we take a few steps, few steady breathing, which will calm our mind, and then we start our meditation. So that's what I'm not going to enter into much of it. Then pratyahara, drawing the organs, sense organs, and from their objects and keeping them in the mind, not allowing the capacity to withdraw the senses from the sense object and merge them in the mind is pratyahara. Bringing them all. Sri Krishna says, Shanai Shanai Uparamed Buddhya Dhriti Grihitaya. Use your intellect, use your intelligence, and bring back the senses. It goes. Like naughty children, it goes. Again, bring it back and keep. As we keep practicing that, the mind gets the habit of them holding them, and it becomes one. See, according to Sankhya, the Indriyas are 11 sense organs. 5 brings sense impressions, 5 brings 5 action, sense organs. But the 11th one is the mind. So bringing all the 10 organs in the 11th organ, that is called as pratyahara. And dharana, fixation. Holding dharana is holding the mind to some particular place, some chakra, anahata or agna, any chakra which you of your liking in the body, or you can think of your ishta, the object of meditation, as outside too. Swamiji sometimes, when he was young as Narendra, used to meditate on a small dot on the wall. And he would concentrate on that. And then, of course, he being an adept in meditation, completely, he would, everything, the wall itself would go away. And only the self remains. Such of deep meditations he used to go into. And then, of course, dharana. That is dharana, fixing. And then dhyana, an unbroken flow of knowledge is called as dhyana, like pouring oil from one vessel to other. The same thought. Pratyaya is a thought. You're holding on to the same pratyaya. For example, you are meditating on Shiva and you are having a mantra. Very good. Helps. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Not in between, giving place. So the thought of Shiva should flow along with the mantra. So that becomes, when that becomes steady, just like oil pouring, there's no, when we pour water, there is disturbance. But when we pour oil, it's steady, the flow is steady. So like that, the mind should go towards the object of meditation steadily. And when that ripens into a state of total absorption, so much so that one is not aware of one's own personality too, completely. And that is called as samadhi. So this conscious maintenance of a steady stream of thought, this is what we want. Where we are, we do not know. Each one of us depends upon our evolution, but we are all attempting to this dhyana. Dhyana, meditation, is a conscious maintenance of a steady stream of same thought about an object at a higher state of consciousness, center of consciousness, in a higher plane, like chakra, anahata chakra, the heart center. Sri Ramakrishna says heart center is the best for us. So this is the general introduction or whatever it is about. Now I will speak. Do I have time? 5 minutes. Good heavens. I haven't even started the proper. So what are the conditions that are necessary to have success in the path of meditation? First thing is seeking. There should be seeking. Meditation is seeking an unknown God in the unknown depths of our consciousness. We have no idea about the ideal what we are. If we had been different, we do not know anything. So seeking an unknown God in the unknown depths of our consciousness is meditation. We start with prayer. It's very essential. It's needed. It has its own function. It gives us stability. And it's a sort of waiting for God. Prayer is like waiting that God may come. pray to God. Oh Lord, reveal thyself, come to me, all sorts of prayers we do. And there comes a time in our lives where we no more are able to wait. We start seeking. Then it is called meditation. Meditation is a movement from the individual soul towards God. And it's like knocking at the door of the inner shrine. Sri Ramakrishna says, Vijay Krishna Goswami, about Vijay Krishna Goswami, he said, Karaghat karche, Vijay Karaghat karche, Hridaya. He's saying, he is banging at the door, open the door, Lord, open the door. You know, in the Chandi we have Kilaka, Argala, all these stotras. What they mean? Open the door, unlock it, open the door. This is the meaning of that stotras. And so, seeking, we need to seek. What does seeking implies? It implies intense aspiration. Intense aspiration is needed for seeking, to have that attitude of seeking. Just aspiration, all of us have. Who will not be happy to enjoy the bliss of God if we could have it, if we could get it? No, it is not easily given for asking. We have to work hard. So intense aspiration is needed. We have to raise. You know, water boils only at 100 degrees. You cannot reduce it long time. You may keep it, but it will not. It will be only at 100 degrees. So certain degree of is needed. Intensity is needed for everything. So it means seeking implies in aspiration, intense aspiration. And why don't we have this intense aspiration? Why? What prevents us from having intense aspiration? One, our inability to raise above the trifles. Day in and day out, engaged in things, same drudgery. So our inability to raise above the trifles. Next, our inability to sacrifice our immediate needs for the sake of highest goal. We don't want to give up our sleep. We don't want to get out of our comfort zone. It's a troubled business. On thinking of the mind, alertness. Who is going to once in a little bit, that's okay. So this is how. So naturally, if this intense aspiration is not there, then our meditation will end up in giving us a little bit of calmness of the mind, very happy. It's sort of satisfaction. That's it, nothing more. It will not have transforming effect on us. And irrational fears. Sri Ramakrishna was called mad priest. And the Brahmo said, day in and day out, he thinks of God. That's why he has become like this. So to think of a conscious entity, by thinking of a conscious entity who brings the whole universe into consciousness, to thinking of that consciousness, one becomes unconscious. Sri Ramakrishna asks the leader of the Brahmo Samaj, Shivnath Shastri, where have you learned this knowledge? That by you people thinking day and night of dead, dull matter, you are conscious. And I thinking of the one infinite consciousness who is illumining this whole universe, I have become unconscious. I have become diseased, weak. He has got what you call fits like, because some tremor used to be in his fingers while going to samadhi. That's what they say. So this is the irrational fears. So why? Too much of meditation will make you insane. One of our Swami used to say thousands of people are there in the mental hospital. How many of them have become mad because of meditation? And 1,000 more are outside. So this is irrational. This is just an excuse. So this is another one. And another thing is we should have an awareness of ourselves as pure Atma. A rudimentary idea, even some basic idea of that we are something different other than this body mind. So this knowledge, like we always seek the company of people who have same ideas, same thought, some sort of similarity should be have in order to have some good relationship. So constantly I think I am ignorant, I am a sinner, this one, that one. You cannot approach God. I am the child of God. I am Atman, part of Paramatman. This idea will elevate us. And so it will make us to seek God in a, what do you call, confident way, with a dignity. That's what is meant. Not clinging, I'm deenheen, I'm a sinner. No, no, not that. A dignity will come to us. So this one. And another is freedom of will. The will has to be free. We don't have, we say we have free people. No, you sit for meditation, you will know how free you are. Immediately the mind goes. Why? Because the will is under the control of desires, drives. So a certain degree of detachment is necessary for the mind in order to meditate. When these things are fulfilled, there are many more. Time is not there. So this is the general conditions. So what is important is aspiration. If aspiration is there, aspiration itself will make the way. It itself will make. What is there which man has not acquired? He wants and he does. Where there is a will, there's a way. If the aspiration is there, and if it is intense, Swamiji says, Patanjali says, samvega. If the samvega, if it is intense, the result. And if it is lukewarm, then it's slow. If it's mediocre, maybe. So it's all, we all are in the track. Now it's left for us, whether we go by walk or take a two-wheeler or a car or a jet plane, whatever it is, and our speed depends upon our aspirations. And what is important is aspiration behind all this. If that is there, the process is done quickly with this. And above all, this patience, perseverance is needed. I think Sri Aurobindo says, there's no other quality in the sadhaka more needed than this perseverance. And our Gaudapada says, a spiritual aspirant must have such perseverance and such willpower that he says, I will empty this ocean drop by drop with a single blade of grass. Imagine you dip the blade of grass in the ocean and you bring it to the other side. Dip it again and you bring it. How long it will take? Even if it takes, I'll do it. So such is the longing or perseverance that an aspirant should have in order to attain the goal. With this, I think Raja Yoga we have finished.
So there's some time for question and answer. Anyone would like to ask some question, get some clarification?
I explained it very simply, so there's no question. That's nice. Good. Because everything is clear. Nothing much. And everything has to be done. When you do something, Swami Bhutananda used to say, you fellows keep on discussing and discussing and discussing, make things worst. Why don't you start practicing? Discussing about the path. When are you going to start your journey? Start it, then you will know. When we do something, and if there is that element called sincerity, the mind itself will teach. The mind itself will teach. And God will make everything. If you have faith in God and if you are a bhakta, everything will be done. In Patanjali's way of, he's a scientist. So he says, no, you do start it, then you will get some results. And those results will encourage you. Yeah, I think I'm in the right direction. So we start going. And as we keep, Raja Maharaj says, as you keep going, your own mind will become the guru. It will teach you, don't do this, don't do that. Because the higher mind, the intellect is awakened and the intellect is guiding the mind. It is holding the mind. Don't do this sort of things. It's not good for you. You will be delaying your evolution. Don't do that. Oh, better do this. This is good for you. The mind itself will teach. So I think, is there any question? Anyone on the line, online? Fine, that's good.
Quiet.
Yeah, good, that's good. Thank you.
Reminder, we're not having the yoga class for some time, so that they'll be away. So the next class will be on the last Thursday in July, on the 31st. Next weekend, we don't have the discussion. There'll be no discussion on Friday night, and there'll be no Sunday talk. Gayatri Pranaji will be leading a teen retreat at Dharma from Saturday evening to Sunday afternoon. Adults are welcome too, if you would like to, I'd say come for the day on Sunday ideally. There will be a separate session, discussion session for the parents and adults. Following Sunday, we have the Guru Purnima celebration. That's the 13th of July. We have a PowerPoint presentation. We'll be showing photographs from the Vedanta archives from way back in the 1970s, right up to 2000. And there'll be a talk by Gayatri Pranaji. As usual, there'll be an open forum too. And everyone's welcome to come up and speak. And it will conclude with lunch. Now, today we'll conclude with a guided meditation. I'll just get set up for that.